One Catholic organization is mixing faith and women's sports. Fierce Athlete uses Catholic Church teaching and the theology of the body to help women live up to their athletic potential while keeping their faith at the center of all they do. And joining me now to discuss more about it is Samantha Kelley, founder and president of Fierce Athlete and a former Division I soccer player as well. Samantha, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. It's good to be here.
Well, tell me a little bit more about Fierce Athlete and why you started it and the meaning behind the acronym FIERCE.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, as you said, I was a Division I soccer player, and after college, I spent a number of years mentoring top athletes around the country. And I just consistently noticed the struggles of identity that they were having and how that unfortunately manifested in their lives. And about 6 years ago, the Lord asked me to start Fierce, specifically for women. There's a lot of amazing Catholic apostolates out there, but I found that the issues that women were dealing with specifically were different than men. And I wanted a space for women to feel like they could grow in both their faith, but also physically, mentally, and spiritually.
Amen to that.
Fierce
what does it
acronym,
stand for?
They're big words, but they're kind of our tenets. It stands for femininity, identity, embodiment, receptivity, Catholicism, and encounter.
Oh, beautiful. And now you mentioned some of the challenges that female athletes face today. How does Fierce Athlete help you overcome some of these obstacles?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I've found that any struggle that the athletes I work with are having stem from a lack of understanding of who they are as daughters of God. So if you ask the typical athlete who they are, they're going to say, I'm an athlete. And that comes with a whole level of pressure from their parents, from their coaches, from society in general. And as a result of that, of not knowing their core identity, they face a lot of pressure. And unfortunately, they deal with some hard things like body image, eating disorders, promiscuity. The play hard, party hard culture is very toxic. There's also a lot of same-sex attraction, unfortunately, that exists in women's sports.
But with specifically, as an athlete, we're faced also with disappointments of not living up to the challenge. So that's where our faith incorporates that into athletics, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. John Paul II says that athletics is the gymnasium for human virtue. And so it's such a great sphere for young people to grow in virtue, things like perseverance, things like learning how to handle failure. When you can incorporate faith into that, the gifts that they've been given from the Lord and teach them to give those back to the Lord, you really help order their identity and, just see their ability to then play in freedom. Yeah,
it really is. It really is about giving it up to God and with your ability. And we're coming up on the 50-year anniversary of Title IX this month, and as you know, the Department of Education now interprets Title IX to protect sexual orientation and gender identity. Your thoughts about that?
Yeah, unfortunately, this has some scary implications for women's sports. As a result, biological males are being allowed to participate in women's sports. People that I unfortunately identify as transgender. We just saw most recently with the UPenn swimmer Leah Thomas winning the NCAA championships. And so, while Title IX has done so much for women athletes, it really is under a threat at the moment. So we're in some interesting times.
Yeah, interesting times indeed. Let's get back to your organization, Fierce Athlete. If people want to find out more about it, where can they go? Who can they call?
Yeah, absolutely. We have a great website, fierceathlete.org. And that has all our resources on there. I would probably direct people to our podcast as well. It's the Fierce Athlete Podcast. And then, I travel the country speaking, partnering with different middle schools, high schools, and colleges, running retreats and clinics. And I also mentor individuals one-on-one, everywhere from, the D3 level all the way up to pro athletes.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, is there anything else that you'd like to add there about your organization that we're not touching on?
I think that's pretty much it. It just would ask for your prayers for women's athletics in general, that they could remain protected and that women could continue to use it as an avenue to grow in their own femininity, but in their confidence and their freedom as women and as daughters of God.
Well, thank you for being there for the daughters of God and for women out there and giving them an outlet.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, take care.